So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are your Super Bowl champions, and if you've been following me on social media, I picked them to win last night's game, and I had several reasons why I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and I'm gonna go through those reasonings this video. The first thing I noticed about Tampa Bay Buccaneers, a lot of people sleep on their defense. I think they have an above average defense. Their front line is good. Now their corners, they're not shut down corners, but they can still do the job. Okay. And the reason why a lot of people sleep on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense is because they're not really paying attention to the defense. They, they're giving a lot of credit to Tom Brady, which he should get the majority of the credit. But some of that credit need to be installed into the defense. And if you've been watching their defense in the last 7 games, the regular season and the postseason, you can see slowly but surely that defense getting better and better and better each and every Sunday. Particularly the 2 noticeable games I noticed was the New Orleans Saints game in the playoffs, where they did a phenomenal job on the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees, excuse me. And when you talk about Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, they went to Lambeau Field and they pretty much got Aaron Rodgers where they wanted him. And I wouldn't say they totally shut down Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers was unable and unsuccessful to do the things that he's accustomed of doing due to the fact of that defense. Okay. And I feel like a lot of people sleep on that defense. They have some key parts on their defense that just go unnoticed. All right. The second reason why I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win last night's game is when you look at how the team is structured. They're not over the salary cap. They were under the salary cap, and it was able to get other acquisitions such as Rob Gronkowski and Antonio Brown. Which, when you look at those 2 players, those 2 players are not going to ask for a whole lot of money. But Ndamukong Suh, the Buccaneers got him. And when you look at what they were doing last year without Tom Brady, that defense was pretty good despite Jameis Winston being their quarterback. And a reason why they lost a lot of those games were the turnovers of Jameis. Okay, if Jameis Winston could cut those turnovers in half, it'll be a tale of a different story with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, okay? And, of course, last but not least, Tom Brady. There's going to be a lot of naysayers out there that's going to tell you, well, Tom Brady, he could have done this anywhere. He had an opportunity to go back to New England, but New England said that he was all washed up. He had an opportunity to go to the 49ers, but the 49ers were just flirting with it and kicking the tires around, and they said, no, we'll just keep Jimmy G. I felt like if he would have went anywhere else, I wouldn't be 100% sure, and no one's not 100% sure, but I wouldn't be if I wouldn't have been, I don't think he could have redone this anywhere else, because you have to look at other teams. You have to look at their salary cap. You also have to look at what they have on the roster, what they don't have on the roster. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in my opinion, were a complete team. They had a running game. They had a decent offensive line. They had a above average defense. You got a veteran quarterback as a leader, Tom Brady. There was the most complete team by far than any other NFL team. They didn't have to deal with a lot of injuries, particularly in key positions, and they just played their game. All right, they played their A game, and I feel like those are the reasons why I picked the Buccaneers. Now, when you look at the matchup itself, last night's game, the Buccaneers the Buccaneers to me were is more of a complete team than anybody in the NFL by far, and when you look at the Kansas City Chiefs, they had weaknesses where the Buccaneers could exploit those weaknesses and make them do things that they're not accustomed of doing. All right, they played a lot of cover two, because basically the Buccaneers defense did not respect the Kansas City's running game because they didn't have a running game. Okay, you know, Kansas City is known for throwing the ball around. All right, and that's great and all when you got two fast receivers on each corner. Then you got Patrick Mahomes that has a cannon for an arm. He's very athletic. And even though the offensive line isn't strong, it's strong enough to allow Patrick Mahomes to some time to throw it to those elite receivers. But when you're basically dictating to him, well, you know what? We're going to take our chances on you seeing if you can get that ball down the field. And it's hard to get the ball down the field when you got pressure on you, okay? And Patrick Mahomes, they use the same recipe like a lot of NFL teams did with Tom Brady. If you put pressure on Tom Brady's going to crack, and he's going to throw careless balls. And that's pretty much almost what Patrick Mahomes did last night, okay? When you put pressure on Patrick Mahomes, he's going to throw careless balls that could be picked off or incomplete at most, at least, okay? Because they just did not give him a time to plant his foot and to figure out what he really wants to do with the ball, all right? And when you don't have a running game, that's like blood in the water for a defense. That means that, okay, you're going to be throwing this ball a lot more than handing it off. And plus, the offensive line is not that good, okay? And when you compare the Tampa Bay's offensive line to, if you compare the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line to the Tampa Bay's defensive line, there's no comparison. I mean, they're going to give them problems anyway, okay? So, that's one of the reasons. There's several reasons why I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yes, offense is flashy, it's fun. It put butts in seats. It makes makes wide receivers more popular. It makes everybody popular. It's fun. It's addictive. But at the same time, it's not the norm. Still, even in 2021, defense still wins championships. Offense wins games, but defense wins championships. And that was the bottom line of last night's game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers created pressure for Patrick Mahomes, where he had to think real fast. He didn't have a lot of chances to look at the field. And when you're being rushed, it's taking you out of your comfort zone. I feel like that was the main reason why it became a blowout. Now, a lot of people are going to point to Andy Reid and him calling a timeout. I thought, okay, yes, it was a boneheaded decision that he made, but he felt comfortable about his offense. He wanted to save as much time as possible because he thought Patrick Mahomes was going to at least score before halftime, and then we get the ball again coming out of halftime. So we might have an opportunity of having 14 points automatically, okay? And that could cut that deficit down some. And that's what he was thinking. But the problem with that is the Tampa Bay defense was just all in Patrick Mahomes' face. And they knew they did not have a running game. Now, I told you, a lot of people were going to say, look, I forgot the running back that was with the Jets. He was with Pittsburgh. Now he signed to the Jets for all that money. Can't think of his name right now. But that just goes to show you that they really didn't have anybody to hand the ball to, and that was one of the reasons. There's several reasons why the Kansas City Chiefs could not overcome and win last night's game. I felt like if that game was played 10 different times in 10 different places, it'll still be the same outcome because they just did not have an answer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. Normally, your answer is you got a hell of a running game, and you just hand the ball off. And when that running back, pounds it through the hole and gets 7 or 8 yards, now the defense is going to have to figure out, are we going to still try to put pressure on the quarterback, or are we trying to cover the holes, the lanes for the running back? And if we do that, then what about the offense? I mean, what about the receivers? Do our cornerbacks have to play a lot more man than zone? That, when you get them on their heels like that, then they have to step back and they have to reconfigure what they're going to do, okay? And Tampa Bay could not do that. Now, there's a blueprint for Patrick Mahomes that he's probably going to have to overcome next year. And it's the same blueprint that a lot of people were utilizing on Tom Brady. If you put pressure on Tom Brady, you put him on his heels, he's going to make some inconsistent plays. Okay, he's going to react differently. And that's the same type of demonstration that was presented in front of Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes just could not stand square, 2 feet on the ground, and go into his reads. He couldn't even do none of that stuff because he was always on the move, running around. Okay, and that's going to be his kryptonite until he overcomes and beat that, just like what Tom Brady did. Still, I feel like people are going to still use that same game plan on Tom Brady. And even if Patrick Mahomes beats it a couple of times, people are going to still use that because it worked in the Super Bowl. Now, a lot of people are also going to say that Andy Reid, he's not a coach that dictates rules. He's sort of laid back. He sort of let the players do what they want to do. Tyreek Hill did a flip, and he did not even, said it was wrong or disgusting or, even talk to him. He just basically just accepted it and let him be him. Okay. And a lot of people are going to say with that lack of dose of leadership, that's another reason why, the Kansas City Chiefs could not win that Super Bowl because of that. Now, I don't necessarily believe in that. It could be a factor, but I don't think it's a huge factor. And I feel like ultimately the real factors were the Kansas City Chiefs, their offensive line couldn't stop the defense as far as the defense creating pressure for Patrick Mahomes, and Patrick Mahomes just didn't have time to go into his reads, to set his to get into some type of comfort zone, and he just couldn't do it. And last night game proved it, and that's why I was saying all along, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to win this game. There was no doubt in my mind. And because of the reasonings that I illustrated in this video, what is the reason why I came to this conclusion? All right. But my hat's off to Tom Brady. Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowl championships. He has more championships than NFL franchises have champinships. And that's astounding. That's astonishing. But the same thing could be said, even though Joe Montana, Troy Aikman, even even Manning, and he was inducted in the NFL Hall of Fame, Peyton Manning, and when you look, 7 Super Bowl wins is astounding. 7 having more Super Bowl wins than teams is also astounding, and he should be put in place in a room to himself. For all those out there that said Tom Brady last week, talking about Tom Brady is not the GOAT, I mean, it's going to be hard to keep that opinion after he just won his 7th ring. But that's why it just goes to say, it just goes to show. When I was saying this earlier in the video, I felt like Tom Brady knew when he look at the lay of the land of NFL teams, I felt like he didn't pick the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on accident. He knew that this team is better and is in better position than any other NFL team out there. A lot of people were talking about he should have went to the 49ers. Okay, the 49ers flirted around with him. He should have stayed, he should have stayed in New England. New England should have worked something out with Tom Brady instead of just throwing him out the door. I felt like if he would have went to those teams, I don't think, if you place him to those two teams, the New England Patriots only won 5 games. They don't have enough talent on the offense, and on defense, there was a lot of their key players that took that year off due to COVID reasons. And a lot of those players were skilled players. If Tom Brady would have went back to New England, he would have not went to a championship, much less a playoff. If he would have went to the 49ers, even though they have a great defense, they had health concerns with their team, and I don't think he would have probably made it to the playoffs, but I don't think that would have not been enough to overcome the other teams out there. So to me, it was a perfect fit for Tom Brady. It made a lot of sense for Tom Brady to stay there. All right. So, to stay in Tampa. Well, that's all I got for today. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy. I'm up out of here. Deuces.